Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Previously on my last story video called "The Police Tried to Indict Me on Theft Charges," I mentioned that me and my roommate were hired onto a temporary job at an abandoned gas station / liquor store in the middle of nowhere right after summer. We were able to take a bunch of stuff for free already and stole some bottles when we had a chance. The bottles were split between us. A couple days later, the police would confront me at my own new crib for the first time for something completely unrelated. They let me off the hook the first time after I showed them some signs that I had that were made out of neon signs and not the street signs they were looking for. For this video, I'm essentially going to be talking about how I got into an entire situation where the police would show up to my crib again for the second time after trying to make some money. I'm still not even on probation yet, so that all just added onto my anxiety for when my next court day comes. Last thing I need is to face everything all at once. Today, I'm going to be telling a story about the time that I was selling alcohol and ended up getting chased for it towards the end. The whole situation still gives me chills because to this day, I still don't know who this person was. I'm assuming it was some type of Karen, but then again, I don't know. I'm also chilled out about the fact that the police were called on me again. That was enough to get me to stop selling that shit for good, or at least a little bit afterwards when I finished the supply. I won't be selling alcohol no more. This story is definitely not ordinary. Before we get into the story, please make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel if you're new to my content, and don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload. Share this video to anybody that's ever been chased by someone before, and let's play Somebody Chased Me. Once upon a time, I was chilling at my apartment on a warm afternoon in early October when one of my buddies would hit me up for a bottle. Around this time, I had my full half of the bottles chilling in my room for just over a week. That same buddy actually motivated me to start selling my bottles, and he had some pretty good connections that weren't too far from the new town I live in. After I sold my first bottle to him, along with giving him a ride somewhere and back for more money, I would fairly slowly but surely go on a bottle selling spree for only about a month and a half. I sold the last of my half of the bottles late November. I'd say I'd made over $700 doing that shit too, man. Most of the time I was charging extra for having to bring the bottles to them, especially if they were in the cities. I was able to charge up to $30 for the delivery and inconvenience fee per sale every time I drive to the cities to make said sale. That side hustle was nice while it lasted. Too bad nothing lasts forever. Even if I wanted to get into selling alcohol again, I'd need a car again. Give money to people 21 or older that probably want to charge extra for the same reason I'd overcharge for another person who can't just go to the store and get alcohol. But like I said in the past videos, I'm better off just getting a car, saving up as much bread as possible, and trying not to be homeless during probation. Now, one of the people that I first sold the bottle to had their parents staying with them at the time. The first few times I would sell to him, he had me drop off the bottles inside his mailbox that was fucking huge for no reason. You could fit a microwave in it. It made it easier to do the transaction, along with the fact that he would have the money in the mailbox in advance. It was essentially set up to be contactless. It was also still a little sketchy, considering that it was a 2-lane road with no shoulders in the middle of nowhere, and traffic could come from either side. I can't just park on somebody's front lawn or their driveway. At first, I was more worried about the money, as I would be even now, but the second to last time I would make a sale to him, which was almost a couple months ago, things went for a turn. One night, dude hit me up again for a few more bottles. I left the house to drive to his crib again to make another sale, right? His place was about a 20-minute drive. It was only around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but it was already pitch black outside. There were still a bunch of people out and about driving and stuff too. By the time I got to his house, I had to keep driving because not only did I want to catch this guy's parents' attention, or at least I thought they were at the house with him again, but I also didn't want to catch any other stranger's attention dealing with an alcohol sale or stopping in front of somebody on the road knowing I had traffic behind me. I pulled off into a dirt road and waited until the road was clear for me to approach the mailbox again. I got out of the car and at first I thought I was at the right mailbox, but then I opened it and saw the numbers didn't match the address. I even ran up the street right after that thinking I could just find the right one, but it was dark and I was in the middle of nowhere, man. Those mailboxes were spread out far apart, and before you knew it, another car was coming towards me from the end of the road I was initially running towards. I quickly ran back to my car, and before I could make it back, that car decided to slow down by me and my car as if they were trying to peep at what I was doing. They never stopped, they just slowed down and kept going. By the time I got back into my car, they turned around up the road to where I would only see headlights again. I didn't know it was the same car at first because it was pitch black outside. That same time too, I had just realized I dropped my phone in my car and that I couldn't find it in a timely manner. So I just pull off to wait for traffic again, right? But right when I did did that, I saw the same car pass me and turn around again, and that's when I pretty much knew that this person was trying to follow me and get me caught up in some trouble. I essentially bailed out on the sale and figured I'm not going to be able to contact this guy about this until I lose the motherfucker following me and find some light to look for my phone in the pile of junk that was always in my car. I fucking floor it down the street to take a right onto the main road, pretty much blowing through a stop sign, and just took off. I'd say I was going at least 90 miles per hour. My engine's loud too, so I'm sure the whole neighborhood heard that. A few seconds would only go by until this motherfucker catches up to me again. Like, this dude had to be going faster than 90 to catch up to me. Keep in mind, we were still in the middle of nowhere and it was pitch black. A deer or any kind of wildlife could have ran out on the street and killed me or whoever was chasing me. After a few minutes of high-speed driving, I eventually pulled off into a neighborhood, not long until the follower takes the same turn into the neighborhood. I then park on the side of the street, and the follower then parks on the same side of the street just a couple blocks away. We sat there for like a solid 5 minutes. At that point, I was getting sick and tired of the situation, so I stepped out of my car with my arms and head spread out, trying to indicate that I mean no harm, but also, why the fuck are you following me? But seconds after I got out of the car, they pulled off, and that was the last time I would see them. Talk about reckless driving. I went back into my car, pulled up to a street light just another block down the road, and found my phone to see 7 missed calls from the guy I was supposed to sell the bottles to. I was also doing everything at a pace because I could imagine that random person already called the cops on me. I was already out of town too, so I figured to just get the sale over with, so just in case if I do get pulled over on the way back home, I don't have anything illegal on me. I called dude again, and turns out his parents weren't even home to begin with. He told me that he was sitting in his truck from the point where I first drove past his house with traffic behind me, all the way after he saw me take off in my loud-ass car with that random person following me. He even texted me just before I came to the area that I could have just pulled up in the driveway, but my phone was lost in my car up until the end of that car chase. What a bummer. I ended up meeting him at a McDonald's parking lot since he drives. He gave me $120 for like 2 or 3 bottles and the inconvenience. I was originally going to sell it for less, but he felt bad about the whole thing and figured I'd be better off with some extra cash, which I'm definitely not complaining about. Right after the sale came a decent snowstorm. Had to drive in it for about 20 minutes on the freeway to get back to the crib. About 30 minutes after that, I got a loud knock on the front door. At the time, I had one extra roommate that I was helping out at the time. He fucked me over in the end. No more having extra roommates for me. Anyways, that person was in the living room when that knock happened, and I was in my room ready to pass out. The knock persisted a little longer than expected, and that's when that roommate slightly tapped my door open to get my attention and tell me that there's a police officer at the front door. Of course, my heart dropped again, but I figured I'd be better off talking to the cop than to pretend nobody's home. I already knew the cop saw my car out front too. The knock happens again. I ask who's at the door. They say insert county name sheriff department. I open the door. They ask for me and say that they had a call about me illegally parking on the street. That's when I told the cop that somebody had chased me after I went back to my car from somebody's house. He asked me why I left my car down the street. I told him I was just dropping off some stuff he had forgotten at my place the night prior and asked me to bring it back to him as a friendly favor. That was enough to get the cop off of my ass. All he had to say after that was to ask whether if I was doing anything wrong and to apologize about the inconvenience. About a week later, the same guy would hit me up again to pick up the rest of my bottles at night. This time he came over to my place to eliminate any risk of having the police or some stranger involved in the mix. During the sale, he and my extra roommate got to meet. I haven't got to know more about him, but this was the only time we got to hang out. He wanted me to hit him up again once I got some bottles again, but that's not going to happen, at least for a long time. I'd have to invest a pretty good chunk of money to get into doing that again. In conclusion of this story, I ended off my final alcohol sale with a casual smoke session with the customer and buddy I had stayed over at the time. The customer went back home after the joint, and that extra roommate would disappear out of town just 4 days later after he got his money up behind me and my roommate's back. The end. The morals to this story is don't chase people. Car chases aren't safe at all, man. Unless you and your car got hit by their car, you don't need to be going 90 down the side road just to get plate numbers. Don't backstab your friends, especially out of money. Everybody's got to eat, but I guess people are going to do what they have to do to survive. Don't sell drugs or alcohol. It's illegal, especially when you're underage. Don't steal either. Maybe from a whole company, it's not as bad, but stealing from people is bad. Not to condone stealing from companies either. Don't do drugs, stay in school, get good grades, and keep watching my YouTube videos. That should conclude this video. Once again, I really appreciate you watching this video. If you liked it, please give this video a like, subscribe if you're new to my content, and don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload. Follow me on all of my social media. The links will be in the description below. Share this video to anybody that's ever been chased trying to do a sale, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out. Sauce.